Well, good evening, everyone, and welcome here to the launch pad and our live launch coverage of Roscosmos' Progress MS-24 or Progress 85 as it gets ready to launch up to the International Space Station. If it's your first time here, though, welcome. My name's Zach, and I'm the founder and host here at the launch pad. Here at TLP, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow because we believe that space is better together, and we're glad to have you joining us here tonight, or maybe this morning or afternoon, depending where you're watching us from. It's a big day today. An exciting launch. We get to see a Soyuz fly, which we haven't seen a lot of this year, but even more importantly, India is preparing to land on the lunar surface. We are now at 12 hours, 13 minutes and counting until that targeted touchdown time, and of course we have our 24/7 tracker running, and we will be providing live commentated coverage for those final hours as we count down to the descent of Chandrayaan-3. So make sure after this you turn over to there and follow as India prepares to make history. But we're here for a Soyuz heading up to the ISS, T-minus 45 minutes and counting. You're looking at a live view of launch site 31/6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome as we prepare to watch a Soyuz 2.1A rocket lift off carrying a whole bunch of cargo and water and oxygen up to the International Space Station. Just a couple of days ago, we saw Progress depart the ISS, making way for today's mission. It's going to be a kickoff of some busy activity up on the ISS, the arrival of this cargo craft. We have Crew 7 launching next week, and then Crew 6 will be departing a short time later. So a busy time up at the ISS, but hopefully will be a good time as they prepare to roll into this next expedition with more science and research. As you can see, the sun is beginning to, I believe that would be coming up now in Russia based on this time, as we count down now just about over 44 minutes until launch. As you see, lots of people tuning in the chat. We've got Buzz coming in from Lakeland, Florida. Buzz is in Lakeland, Florida. Bud is in New Zealand. We got the Martian in Kentucky. We got Counts in Massachusetts. Aditya, I'm saying that wrong. I apologize, is in India. Linda's in New Jersey. Mike's in Columbus. Trident's in California. Mark's in East Tennessee. Just Fly Nova's in Washington. We got David in Georgia. Wendy's in California. Bill's in Arkansas. Great having so many here. Joe, good to see you. Coming in always from Hong Kong. Great to see you there. Stephanie's in Texas. Kiro is in Ottawa, Canada. As always, if you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us in. If you guys have questions, you can send those in the chat by tagging us at the launch pad, and we'll work on answering those live to the best of our ability throughout tonight's broadcast. At this time, we are waiting to see those claw arms or claw towers retract away from the side of Soyuz, and that should be happening here in the next few minutes, and then we will see them begin to have pad clear right around that 25-minute to launch mark. We will, of course, listen into the raw sights and sounds from the Mission Control Net and the tech feed here from Roscosmos as we continue. NASA will be providing live coverage, so we will be patching them in as well a little bit closer, but you can see that Soyuz 2.1A rocket being fueled up in preparation for launch here this evening or this morning. As always, as I said, you can send in those questions by tagging us at the Launchpad. We'll work on answering those. It is a launch day, which means you can use promo code LAUNCHDAY, all caps, one word, get 10% off of everything over at the store, so not too late to pick up some of that Chandrayaan-3 gear. Some of it is limited, and we'll be taking that shortly off after landing, so make sure you take a moment. Global shipping's available, so if you've tried before and it wouldn't let you, try it again. Should be working now. Just Fly Nova, I have a question. Why does Soyuz have a ball on top? There's a metal part on top. That's just part of the fairing system. It does look like a ball. It's just part of the fairing. Helps with the heat on the fairing itself there. Hey, Ginger, good to see you as always. Timothy's tuning in from Fairmount, West Virginia. Michael is in Ghana. Rishi is in Delaware. June is in Oregon. Great to have you all here. JR Studio is in India. Bevity is in New Mexico, AdWeb South Africa, South's in St. Augustine, Florida, Rexus is in the United States, J Marsh in Ontario, Canada. Great having you all with us here tonight. We got some of the TLP crew in the chat as well. I know we got Kieran up in the UK. We've got Jay there as well, and some of the other team that will be coming in and out throughout today's live stream. If you're interested in becoming part of the TLP crew, you can apply over on our website in the About page. That's where our applications are. We are looking for a few more moderators and a couple people to join our TLP News crew as journalists. So if you enjoy space, just follow it all the time and enjoy writing, definitely consider signing up to become part of that TOP News crew. We're now just coming up under T-minus 41 minutes and counting. We'll take a little bit of a break from our commentated coverage, listen into the live sights and sounds, and I'll be back with updates as we continue the countdown to launch of Progress MS-24 or Progress 85 up to the International Space Station for a cargo resupply. Stay with us. And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad. You're looking at a live view of the 31/6 launch site at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, and you can see that support structure has begun to retract away from the Soyuz 2.1A rocket, meaning crews are preparing to clear the pad and are doing final launch preparations. It's going to take a few minutes for those to fully retract away, and then the only thing remaining will be those two strong backs, kind of on the back side of Soyuz from this camera angle. So we are now at T-minus 35 minutes, 40 seconds, and counting until launch. If you're just joining us, take a moment, engage that like button, share out the stream, invite people to join us here. And if you have questions, you can send those in the chat by taking us at the launch pad, and we'll work on answering those live. AdWeb, I'm quite surprised at the level of activity on the launch pad. It's been a busy but quiet week. Super exciting with Chandrayaan 3, but we got a bunch of launches coming up over the next couple of weeks that we hope you'll join us for. We're going to be pre-scheduling some stuff tomorrow, so make sure you keep an eye on that. As always, if you want to know about the upcoming launch schedule, you can head over to tlpnetwork.com. That's where we have our TLP launch control, and you can see all upcoming global missions and whether we will have a live coverage for those or not. If you haven't yet, though, take a moment, engage that subscribe button as well. We are on the road to 200,000 subscribers, which is so incredible to say. You guys, it's amazing to have such an incredible global community that are so excited about space, because we really do believe that space is better together, and you guys really just get to prove that. We're working on some really exciting things. Had some confirmation of one of them today that we can't wait to tell you more about. So make sure you stay tuned, as we got some exciting announcements coming up. Also, you've seen it in the chat. If you want to send your name to the moon, you can do so. Click that link in the chat. We are sending our very own TLP payload to the lunar surface, our first off-planet mission. And yeah, I say first, there's more in the works. But if you want to send your name, it's totally free to do so, so sign up today. But if you want to upgrade your payload by sending a photo or a video, you can do so as well. That helps us expand our program of doing the best possible coverage of everything space, but also bringing more missions off-planet as well. Just Fly Nova, how safe is Soyuz today? Extremely safe. It's flown, we're probably right about that 2,000 time mark, if not more. It's an extremely safe rocket that's only had a few failures. The few failures that it's had in recent history, like if it was a crewed mission, it operated and saved the crew the way they were supposed to. So it is a very safe vehicle for what we know. Obviously, there's the fact of it is Russia, so we might not always know when it has launched. But for what we know, it is an incredibly safe vehicle. Catching up on the chat, you can continue to send those questions in. If you're just joining us, you're looking at a live view of launch site 31/6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome. We're now 32 minutes, 45 seconds and counting from launch, carrying up a cargo resupply mission to the International Space Station. We will have a live tracker for the spacecraft as well once we get a lock on it on the satellite. We are tracking it to have a 2-day orbit. It's going to complete 34 orbits on its journey to the space station, where it will autonomously dock to the Zvezda module. That is currently targeting 11:50 p.m. on Thursday. We will begin our live coverage an hour or so before that docking time, bringing you live views from the International Space Station of the Progress spacecraft approaching the ISS. On board is a whole bunch of food, supplies, science, research, water, fuel, and everything else that they need to help keep this International Space Station and this floating laboratory operational. T-minus 31 minutes, 45 seconds and counting until launch. JD Brown, thank you so much for that super chat. Really appreciate that. Unlike the NASA guys, why do the Roscosmos guys wait around until 30 minutes to vacate the pad before liftoff? Is it for a safety reason or something else? Haven't been there, so I haven't gone through their security and safety briefings for press, but I have talked to some people that have gone before, and they allow the press and their teams to be a lot closer to the rocket than we do in the United States. But we also see that different depending on the vehicle. With SLS, they have the red team that can be sent out when it's fueled. Obviously, these are not a red team. They're kind of just their normal support crews for the facility. But that is based off their safety protocols. Whether those are as safe as they maybe need to be, who knows? But it's just based off of what they have set into place. I know media are allowed rather close, quite close to launch. as well. So that is something that maybe one day TLP will be able to go cover that, but we're not going to do that while obviously there is other situations with Russia's activity, obviously. Reason we're covering tonight's launch, it is a launch up to the International Space Station, which affects all international partners. That's why we do bring you this live coverage, as it is an important launch, as we continue to cover only launches that are impacting the International Space Station or the race to the moon out of Russia. If you're just joining us, though, welcome here to the launch pad. Rishi, hello, friend Winston is asking if they have live footage from the rocket itself while it goes to the ISS. So they do have cameras on board for mission control, but that's something that we won't have necessarily access to. We'll have access to it for a few minutes after launch, and then we'll get that access back closer to actual docking, about 30-45 minutes away from docking. There's a feed that they'll send out, but it's only one feed. This is a raw feed that we do get sent by Roscosmos, so we can have these clean pad views as we count down now just T-minus 30 minutes and counting until launch of Progress MS-24, Progress 85 up to the International Space Station. Now just under 30 minutes and counting until liftoff. We are expecting NASA to begin their live coverage here momentarily. Once they do, we will patch them in so you can hear updates on the countdown. So make sure that you stay with us right here on the launch pad as we continue to count down. We're going to take another quick commentary break. Keep sending in those questions in the chat and stay with us right here at the launch pad as we count down to launch of another ISS resupply mission from Russia.
50-й, воздух коллектора стильной эжекции выдан, замечаний нет, 50-й. Доклад 50-й принял 5-й. Руководство пуск принял, 1-й. Стартовый комплекс принял, готовность 30 минут. Кабина обслуживания разведена вниз стартового снаряжения. Колонна обслуживания разведены в горизонтальное положение. Прошу разрешения до связи, 5-й. Доклад 5-го принял, разрешаю уйти со связи, 1-й.
At Launch Pad 6, Site 31 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, where it is just a few minutes before sunrise at the Central Asian Desert Spaceport, and you're looking live at the Soyuz 2.1A booster, fully fueled, ready to launch just about 22.5 minutes from now to deliver 2.7 tons of food, fuel, and supplies to the crew members aboard the International Space Station. Good evening from Mission Control in Houston and the International Space Station Flight Control Room, as preparations are now complete in advance of the launch of the Progress 85 cargo ship, the unpiloted cargo ship, that will be sent on its way for an 8-minute, 49-second launch for spacecraft separation from the upper stage, the third stage of the Soyuz booster, after which solar arrays and navigational antennas will deploy, and the Progress will begin the chase to catch up to the station for an automated docking on Thursday evening at 10:50 p.m. Central Time, 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time at the aft port of the Zvezda service module. As mentioned, the Progress is about to carry 2.7 tons of cargo to the international outpost that is currently occupied by 7 crew members. We'll talk about them in just a moment. Meanwhile, at the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow, Russian flight controllers are standing by for the liftoff of the Progress vehicle. Once the Progress separates from the upper stage of the Soyuz 2.1A booster, those flight controllers in Korolyov will take over control of the flight of the Progress on its 2-day journey to reach the International Space Station. At the time of launch, the International Space Station will be flying over Chad, over Central Africa, at an altitude of 260 statute miles. Here in the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Johnson Space Center, the Orbit 3 team of flight controllers is on console, overseeing the systems of the International Space Station that will be the destination for the Progress 85 cargo ship. On console at this hour, presiding over this flight control team, is Flight Director Fiona Antkowiak. She is joined on console by Flight Director Heidi Brewer at this hour as they watch the countdown clocks ticking backwards, approaching the T-minus 20-minute mark before liftoff. As mentioned before, on board the International Space Station, the 7 crew members are about halfway through their sleep period. They will be awakened about 1 a.m. Central Time to begin their workday, which will include preparations for the arrival of the Progress craft on Thursday night. On board the International Space Station from left to right is NASA astronaut Frank Rubio, who is heading to a U.S. single-flight space record of 371 days in space at the time he arrives for his landing on the steppe of Kazakhstan on the Soyuz MS-24 spacecraft on September 27th. Again, from left to right is Dmitry Petelin, Sultan Al Niyati of the United Arab Emirates, NASA's Woody Hoberg, Steve Bowen, Then we have Andrei Fedyaev, the Russian cosmonaut, and on the far right is the Expedition 69 commander, Sergei Prokopyev. We're about to begin a very busy time for the International Space Station down at the Kennedy Space Center. Four crew members are ready to lift off in the wee hours of Friday morning from Launch Pad 39A. That is the Crew 7 crew. From left to right, Roscosmos cosmonaut Konstantin Borisov, European Space Agency astronaut Andreas Mogensen, the commander of the Dragon Endurance that will lift off on Friday morning at 3:50 a.m. Eastern Time. That's Jasmine Mogbelli, the NASA commander of the Crew 7 crew, and on the far right, Satoshi Furukawa of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. Those four boarded Endurance in the wee hours of Tuesday morning for what is called a dry dress, basically a dress rehearsal of their countdown procedures. That was followed after they left the launch pad of a 6-second test firing, a static fire test of the Falcon 9, the SpaceX Falcon 9 engines, and everything checked out with flying colors. So the stage is set for their launch on Friday morning. That will come just about 4 hours after the scheduled docking of the Progress to the International Space Station, which will occur very late on Thursday night. Back on the launch pad, the countdown proceeding inside the 18-minute mark. Everything has checked out. The Soyuz booster was fueled by Russian technicians at the launch pad several hours ago. They are now in the final checks of the Soyuz systems, awaiting the final minutes of the liftoff, before liftoff, that will send the Progress on its way. The timeline from launch through ascent will call for the first stage separation and the jettisoning of the solids that flank the first stage of the Soyuz booster at the 1-minute 58-second mark into the flight. At 3 minutes and 3 seconds into the flight, the launch shroud that is covering, that's that green triangular section in the upper portion of the Soyuz booster, that will be jettisoned 3 minutes and 3 seconds into the flight. Second stage shutdown of the Soyuz engines will occur 4 minutes and 37 seconds into the flight. 10 seconds later, the second stage will separate, and the third stage will have ignited on the final phase of the climb to orbit. Third stage shutdown is scheduled at 8 minutes and 46 seconds into the flight. 3 seconds later, the Progress will separate from the third stage, and moments later, its solar arrays and navigational antennas will be unfurled as the Progress begins its chase to catch up to the International Space Station. The launch time tonight is 8:08 and 10 seconds p.m. Central Time, 9:08 and 10 seconds p.m. Eastern Time, which is 6:08 a.m. Baikonur time on Wednesday morning at the Cosmodrome in the Central Asian Desert. We are less than 16 minutes away from the launch of the Soyuz booster with the Progress resupply craft. At about the T-minus 7-minute mark, a launch key will be inserted in the launch bunker at Baikonur, transitioning the launch sequence into an automated mode. The launch control team will report that the range is clear and the Soyuz rocket is ready to begin its journey. The pressurization of the first stage of the Soyuz booster is scheduled at about the T-minus 2-minute 45-second mark in the count, followed about 1 minute and 15 seconds later by the termination of the ground propellant feed to the Soyuz rocket. At the T-minus 1-minute mark, the Soyuz will go on internal power, and then the first of the two umbilicals, the towers that are buttressed up against the upper stage of the rocket, will begin to retract. The first umbilical is scheduled to retract at about the T-minus 30-second mark, followed about 18 seconds later by the retraction of the second booster that will initiate the auto sequence start for main engine start. You're looking right there at the upper stage of the Soyuz 2.1A booster, again a 3-stage rocket that will send the Progress on an 8-minute, 49-second journey to its preliminary orbit. There will be a series of rendezvous maneuvers over the next 2 days to raise the orbit of the Progress to match that of the International Space Station, and of course to place it in the terminal phase of its rendezvous during the early evening hours on Thursday night. Once again, docking to the aft port of the Zvezda service module is scheduled at 10:50 p.m. Central Time Thursday night, 11:50 p.m. Eastern Time, just about 4 hours before the launch of the Falcon 9 SpaceX rocket from Launch Pad 39A at the Kennedy Space Center with the Crew 7 crew on board. The Soyuz booster with the Progress 85 cargo craft rolled out to the launch pad on Site 31 there in Baikonur on Sunday. It was raised vertically, where technicians then began to hook up fuel lines and electrical lines to the rocket for final pre-launch checks prior to the start of the fueling of the rocket, which occurred several hours ago. The skies are clear in Baikonur, the temperature a balmy 70 degrees on this summer night, or early morning hours on Wednesday morning in Baikonur. Again, the Soyuz booster fully fueled, ready to begin its journey as the countdown clock ticks backwards to the T-minus 12.5-minute mark. Once the Progress automatically docks to the International Space Station's Zvezda module on Thursday evening, there'll be a few minutes to allow the relative motion of the two vehicles to dampen out against one another before the forward docking probe is retracted on the Progress cargo craft, enabling the closing of the hooks to form a hard mate. The cosmonauts on board the International Space Station, Prokopyev, Patelin, Fedyaev, will conduct leak checks on the station side of the docking interface before they open up the hatch to the Progress to begin unloading its cargo. Again, the Progress is loaded with 2.7 tons of food, fuel, and supplies for the Expedition 69 crew, kicking off an extremely busy time frame that will also see the launch of the Crew 7 crew from the Kennedy Space Center in the overnight hours on Friday morning. That will be followed by the scheduled undocking of the Crew 6 crew, Steve Bowen, Woody Hoberg, Sultan Al-Niyati, and Andrei Fedyaev, on September 1st to complete their 6 months on board the International Space Station. You see the two large gantry arms on either side of the Soyuz 2.1A booster.
And if you're just joining us, welcome here to the launch pad.
Launch will occur again at
T-minus 8 minutes, 40 seconds and counting until launch of a Soyuz 2.1A rocket. You're looking at a live view of launch site 31/6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, where fueling has been completed and the pad is now clear as we prepare to watch a resupply mission launch to the International Space Station. If you haven't yet, take a moment, engage that like button, and subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview here on the Launchpad Network. If it's your first time, welcome. My name's Zach. I'm the founder and host here. And here at TLP Network, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together. We're glad that you're joining us here tonight, this morning, this afternoon, depending when where you are in the world, as we are now 8 minutes and counting until launch. We're going to listen back in to Mission Control as we go through the final bit of today's count, so stay with us and countdown in the chat. T-minus 7 minutes, 47 seconds and counting until launch.
the launch of the Progress 85 cargo craft to the space station, with the departure on Sunday night of the older Progress, the ISS 83 cargo ship that undocked from the aft port of the service module. It was deorbited and burned up harmlessly in the Earth's atmosphere over the Pacific Ocean. Still at the station is the ISS Progress 84 cargo craft.
Минутную готовность принял 30-й. Минутную готовность принял 50-й. Минутную готовность принял 60-й. Минутную готовность принял 70-й. Доклады руководителя работ принял. Первый. Первый. Есть готовность системы измерений 70-й. Доклад 70-го принял. Первый. 60-му сбросить шоу объекта. Первый. Есть сбросить шоу объекта 60-й.
Inside 7 minutes to launch. The ground launch sequencer has been initiated for the final minutes of the countdown.
Есть готовность систем комплекса 30-й. Доклад 30-го принял. Первый. Первый. Сброс шоу объекта проведен. Замечаний нет. Космический аппарат к запуску готов. 60-й. Доклад 60-го принял. Первый.
That conversation you're hearing is emanating from the launch bunker, the blockhouse at Baikonur, by launch controllers
Есть ключ на старт 30-й.
as they tick off the various milestones leading to the final 6 minutes before liftoff. T-minus 5.5 minutes until liftoff.
Есть наддув 70-й. Есть ГДМ блока И 70-й. Есть наддув общий 30-й. Есть наддув общий 70-й. Есть сброс шелов системы измерения 70-й. Доклады руководитель работ принял первый. Земля, борт. Есть переход блока И на бортовое питание. Есть отрыв шоу блока И. Есть дополнительный, есть замок. Есть матч навационный. Есть отрыв холодный пневмокодек блока И 70-й. Доклады руководителя завод принял первый. Пуск. Пуск. Зажигание. Предварительное. Промежуточное. Главное. Подъем. Прошел контакт подъема. Двигатели центрального и боковых блоков ракеты-носителя вышли на режим главной ступени тяги.
And we have liftoff of a Soyuz 2.1A rocket from launch site 31/6 at the Baikonur Cosmodrome, carrying our resupply mission to the International Space Station.
Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. Давление в камерах двигателей в норме. 60. Тангаж, рыскание, вращение в норме. 70. Полет нормальный. 80. Параметры системы управления ракетой-носителя в норме. 90. Двигатели первой и второй ступени работают нормально. 100. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 110. Тангаж, рыскание, вращение в норме. 120. Есть выключение двигателей боковых блоков. Есть отделение боковых блоков. 130. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. 140. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 150. Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально. 160. Параметры системы управления ракетой-носителя в норме. 170. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. 180. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 190. Есть сброс створа головного обтекателя. 200. Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально. 210. Параметры системы управления ракетой-носителя в норме. 220. Полет нормальный. Время КП. 6 часов, 8 минут, 10 секунд, 412 миллисекунд. 230. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. 240. Двигатель второй ступени работает нормально. 250. Тангаж, рысканье вращения в норме. 260. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 270. Параметры системы управления ракетой-носителя в норме. 280. Прошел гарантийный наддув бака окислителя третьей ступени. 290. Есть запуск двигателя третьей ступени. Есть выключение двигателя второй ступени. Есть отделение второй ступени. 300. Есть сброс панели хвостового отсека. 310. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. 320. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 330. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. 340. Параметры системы управления в норме. 350. Полет нормальный. 360. Тангаж, рысканье вращения в норме. 370. Параметры конструкции ракеты-носителя в норме. 380. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. 390. Параметры системы управления ракетой-носителя в норме. 400. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая. 410. Полет нормальный. 420. Тангаж, рысканье вращения в норме. 430. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально. 440. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
To the flight.
450. Полет нормальный. 450. Полет нормальный.
7 minutes, 40 seconds into the flight. Just over 1 minute of powered flight remaining.
Ракеты и носителя в норме. 470. Двигатель третьей ступени работает нормально.
We've now passed the 8-minute mark into the flight, less than a minute of powered flight remaining.
480. Параметры системы управления в норме. 490. Стабилизация изделия устойчивая.
Coming up on the 8.5-minute mark into the flight, good stability on the vehicle. Just a few seconds away from third stage shutdown and spacecraft separation.
Вращение в норме. Параметры системы управления. Есть выключение двигателя третьей ступени. Есть отделение транспортного грузового.
Third stage separation confirmed. Planetary orbit, standing by for the unfurling of the solar arrays, and there they go.
Номер 454. Окончен.
And we now have confirmation that the solar arrays and the navigational antennas have all deployed as planned. A flawless climb to orbit for the Progress 85 cargo craft, now beginning its 2-day chase to catch up to the International Space Station for a docking on Thursday evening.
And there you have it, confirmation of a successful deployment, a live view inside the Russian Mission Control Center as the Progress MS-24 spacecraft begins that 2-day journey to the International Space Station as part of Expedition 69, carrying food, water, supplies, fuel, and more up to the ISS. A live view from the Progress docking port there as it begins this 2-day journey. If it was your first time here, though, welcome. Here at the launch pad, it's our mission to inform and inspire the explorers of tomorrow, because we believe that space is better together, and we were glad to have you joining us here tonight, this morning, this afternoon, depending where you are. Make sure you subscribe so you never miss another live launch coverage, space news update, or exclusive one-on-one interview, and we invite you to join us in just over 11 hours when we watch as India prepares to land on the moon with Chandrayaan-3. Head on over to our 24/7 tracker for updates as we count down towards that landing burn. 10 hours, 56 minutes, 56 seconds, and counting until Chandrayaan-3 commits to a landing attempt, and we would love to invite you to join in that chat as India and the world is excited to see Chandrayaan-3, after a 40-day journey, arrive at the moon and head to the lunar surface. That's going to do it from our TLP Canada studio. My name's Zach, and we will see you next time, because space is better together. Good night.